It's my privilege to be able to welcome you to the dedication ceremony of the Jefferson County Veterans Monument. We're very pleased to have you here this afternoon. At this time, we will have the placing of the flag representing the branch of the service they represent. Representing the United States Army is John Jackson, World War II. Representing the Marine Corps, Mr. James Kennedy, Korea. Representing the United States Navy, Mr. Tom Louden, World War II. Representing the United States Air Force, Mr. Carl Berg, Korea. Representing the United States Coast Guard, Mrs. Deann Hickenbottom, her son Matt's on active duty. Representing the MIA POWs, Mr. Ted Sprouse, Korea. Let us now join Jan Hanadas in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
Many of you have a program. There are some circulating. On the program, we have listed all the persons who have donated to make this beautiful monument a reality. And we thank you greatly for your support. There are certain people I'd like to thank personally. I'd like to thank Kent Whitney and Roberta and Russ Schaefer. The pleasure that I've received in being a part of this wonderful happening is being able to know them and become friends with them. And we enjoyed working on this project. And we're thankful for the community support. We're thankful for the supervisors and how they have been with us from the beginning to end. And as I've indicated on the program, you have the names of everyone. You have those who are major contributors, and they are, you can, at the top, listed on a plaque in the back of the center monument. 2 years ago, approximately, Kent Whitney and I had a conversation regarding a monument to honor Jefferson County veterans. Over the winter, we thought about it, and in the spring of 2004, met and decided to get it done. Russ Schaefer, at that time the commander of VFW Post number 2271, and his wife, Roberta, a member of the Ladies Auxiliary, joined us in our endeavor. We contacted the Jefferson County Supervisors about erecting the monument on the courthouse grounds. The supervisors agreed, and as I indicated, were very supportive of the project from beginning to end. We wanted a monument that would be simple and at the same time elegant and even unique. We entered into conversations with Creative Edge, and as a result of those discussions, there is the magnificent medallion designed by artist Harry Alto and crafted by Creative Edge. We chose as our subject 3 American eagles soaring in the sky, watching over our nation. The eagles represent those who have served, excuse me, those who are serving, and those who will serve our country in her armed forces. The monument was conceived, designed, erected, and paid for by people from Jefferson County. The expertise of Whitney Monument Works, Creative Edge, and Jeff Schaefer Construction, who built the plaza on which the monument stands, is a credit to the skill and talent in our community. It is hoped the monument will forever remind the citizens of Jefferson County of those who responded to their nation's call to serve in her armed forces in war and in peace. It is our pleasure and our privilege to have as our guest speaker today Major General Warren Bud Lawson. General, thank you for being with us.
Well, let me say that I don't know of any job that I've ever done that gives me any more pleasure than coming back to Fairfield and sharing a message with you today on this special occasion. I've been going to Armistice Day and later Veterans Day ceremonies down here in Fairfield longer than I'd care to remember. And I have got to tell you that this has got to be the single most outstanding Veterans Day initiative that exists in my lifetime. And I would like to start by saying to the committee, Pastor Walrib and Kent Whitney and Russ and Roberta Schaefer, God bless you for your initiative, and I would hope that everybody would join me in a round of applause for them. And then I would like to thank anybody that had a hand in it. Anybody that provided $1, anybody that etched these wonderful plaques, the designer for this wonderful memorial and the thought behind it, who laid the bricks, everybody, because this is a memorial that will bring tension. As a matter of fact, my mother is 98 years old and out in the long-term care unit, and my brothers and I have been trying to get her out of there to leave for, not to go home, but to leave and go eat lunch and things like that. And 2 weeks ago tomorrow, I come down here and I said, Mom, why don't we go out to lunch today? It's a nice day. And she said, well, okay. And I like to croak. I couldn't believe it. But she had a hidden mission, because we went out and ate lunch, and she said, now would you take me by that new memorial up by the courthouse? And so we come up here, and I parked right there, and she walked up and sat down right over there. And she looked it over, and she said to me, it's long overdue. And moreover, she said, what a wonderful addition to the courthouse lawn. And indeed it is. And as a matter of fact, it serves a purpose that the pastor alluded to in his remarks. As a matter of fact, I was just down to the high school. Many of you were down there with me, and I assure you I'm going to change what I said down there. I'm going to change it a little bit. But told the students, if you grew up during World War II, then you would understand what Veterans Day is all about. And you would understand the relationship that exists between veterans and the freedoms that we enjoy. God knows if it weren't for our veterans, this country would be terribly different than it is today. As a matter of fact, we would probably be living under a totalitarian dictatorship, and most assuredly we would have lost a lot of the freedoms that we enjoy. And to those committee members and that had a hand in this event, well, let me say the timing of your initiative could not be better. And I say that because we are a nation at war. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't seem like it. But it has got to seem like it for the families of those that are currently serving in Iraq. And God bless them all. And God bless those that are willing to stand up and stand with the Guard and the active forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine, members of the Coast Guard, and in World War II, even the Merchant Marine. And as a matter of fact, we've got to recognize that regardless of the cost and the labor to put this up, and it is absolutely magnificent, but you know it's minuscule in relation to the price that was paid by those that served. Oh, indeed, the service to the nation by those in World War II and subsequent wars, the service to the nation, particularly for those that didn't come back to these green fields of Iowa, can never be repaid. No labor of any type can be payoff for those that served. But as a matter of fact, hopefully this memorial will provide a lesson for future generations that will walk by here and drive by here that know that these veterans paid special service to their country. And who are these veterans? Well, they are a composite of our nation and everything that has made it great. They are white and they are black. They are of every race. They are men and they are women. They are of every creed and belief. They fit every physical description. They are your neighbor next door. They are the merchant in the mall. They are the policeman on the beat. And indeed, they in this country are 27 million Americans strong that have served their nation at a time of need. And sadly, about 1.5 million died in the performance of duty for their nation. And they have only one thing in common. They all swore an oath that most Americans have never even heard. An oath that goes like this: we do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, and I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, so help me God. Swore that oath, performed duty under that oath, and some died under that oath. And some of these veterans are well known, people who have received wide acclaim, but most are just ordinary citizens who answered the call to duty. They left the safety of their homes and their families and faced hardships in a far-off land, often with the threat of death. They knew the loneliness of leaving loved ones behind, and they faced the fear of death in a far-off land. And some crawled through the mud and the muck, or struggled with the cold and freezing rain. And almost all that were veterans is sometime ate their food out of a can. And some were unfortunate enough to see a friend killed in the course of their duty. Soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, members of the Coast Guard, some of which were captured, and indeed all veterans, served all around this globe, from the Civil War, where they trained over in Howard Park, to the Spanish-American War, the Mexican border, only to return in time to muster for World War I, and the huge number that served in World War II, and then those that deployed in Korea, and later those that deployed in Vietnam, and since Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Panama, Kosovo, Bosnia, Somalia, Afghanistan, and right now, our loved ones serve in Iraq. And our soldiers have always served with excellence and honor. And I will tell you, in the Arlington National Cemetery, on the side of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, is a saying that years ago I captured because it meant so much to me. And I want you to hear those words that are for that unknown soldier. Hear the words and you decide if they don't accurately depict the service that our men and women have served with our armed forces from here in Fairfield and Jefferson County. And the words go like this: not for fame nor reward, not for place or for rank, nor lured by ambition or goaded by necessity, but in simple obedience to duty as they understood it. These men sacrificed all, dared all, suffered all, and died. I could paraphrase that for all of our servicemen and what they performed. Not for fame nor reward, not for place or for rank, not lured by ambition or goaded by necessity, but in simple obedience to duty as they understood it. These men and women did their duty, and some sacrificed all, dared all, suffered all, and died. Our veterans served and some died because they saw the worth of our nation and responded to our nation's call. They saw the value of freedom and took on the responsibility of being an element to defend it. And I hope that from now, when people drive this street, when people come up to the courthouse to do their business, when people walk on this sidewalk, they will look at this monument and pause and reflect that there once walked on the streets of Fairfield, there once walked in the fields of Jefferson County citizens who so loved their nation that they were willing to provide their time, their talent, and some their lives in support of it. And that's a message worth conveying. And then I would ask you, when you go home tonight, to remember that we are a nation at war, that we have soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines and members of the Coast Guard deployed in harm's way right as we speak. And lay your head down on the pillow and say a prayer to God that He watches over all of them and brings them home safe. and ask God to come and to comfort and look over those families. Oh, I end where I started, with a grand salute to the Fairfield community for creating this magnificent monument, attesting to what our soldiers, Jefferson County soldiers and sailors and airmen, Marines and members of the Coast Guard, have done for their nation. God bless them all. God bless you all. It's been my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, General Lawson. Thank you, Jan Hunterdus. Thank you, Ron Prill and members of the band for taking part in this ceremony. The writer Ecclesiastes wrote, "For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven, a time for war, and a time for peace." We now dedicate our Jefferson County Veterans Monument to those who have served, to those who are serving, and to those who will serve our country in her armed forces. We thank them for their service. Especially, we give thanks for those who have made the supreme sacrifice in giving their life. May God bless them. May God bless America.